All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today is Wednesday, so hopefully you know what that means. It's Wellness Wednesday. So go ahead and grab the kiddos because today we are doing a segment just for the kids. So wherever the kids are, tell them to come inside, stop jumping around in the rain, and tune in because tonight, this afternoon, we're going to have an amazing conversation about feelings and all that comes with that. Welcome to all of you who are newly joining in with us. My name is Crystal Taylor, and I am the Troop Experience Manager with Girl Scouts Carolina's Peaks to Piedmont Council, which is located in 40 counties in Western North Carolina. We're so excited to continue to have an amazing community partner, Kellin Foundation, join us every Wednesday at 4 o'clock to talk about feelings for adults, for children, for girls, for caregivers, and everyone in between to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. We want to be well inside and out. So today I am very excited to be joined with Jessi as she's going to share with us today. So I'm going to let Jessi introduce herself, Kellin Foundation, and give us more insight on today's activity. Jessi?
Hey everybody! My name is Jessi and I am one of the therapists at the Kellin Foundation. And we are a nonprofit in Greensboro, but we're expanding through the triad. And we offer a variety of services from individual therapy, family therapy, children empowerment, and community outreach. So we're really trying to build that strength in the community from a holistic lens. So today I have some information about feelings for kiddos and how you can support yourself through some maybe difficult feelings. All right. So let's get started. So what are feelings anyway? Some people call these emotions. Maybe you've seen some movies about feelings like Inside Out. But they're really the way that our mind and our body respond to something. A lot of times we think about feelings as being either good or bad, but I'm going to challenge you to think about them differently. Feelings teach us about ourselves, they teach us about the world, and they really serve a purpose. So instead of seeing them as negative or bad, you can simply think about them as difficult or helpful. They help us survive, thrive, and avoid danger. So I don't know how many of you guys out there have experienced, anxiety or feeling worried, but that is one of the ways that we stay safe and we can sense danger in the world. So let's say you were out camping in the forest and you see a bear. What if you didn't have any anxiety, or what if you didn't have any worries? It might be dangerous, right? The bear might come toward you and you might be like, oh, this is a friendly bear. Let's just hang out and have a picnic with the bear, because your anxiety wouldn't take over. And that might be pretty dangerous, right? So we need all feelings, not just the good ones, good ones. Think about sadness, right? If we become sad when a sibling does something to us, it encourages us to communicate. It encourages us to connect with one another. They can help us make decisions. So if we get in trouble for something and then we feel angry and we feel maybe frustrated, it might encourage us to do something differently the next time. So as you can see, it's really important for us to embrace all of our feelings, not just the ones that make us feel good. And believe it or not, we can have more than one feeling at the same time. And sometimes we have feelings like feeling happy, but also excited. And those kind of are in the same area, right, in our feelings. But sometimes we can even feel sadness and happiness. And that's kind of confusing, and that's okay. But just want you to know that you can have more than one at the very same time. Okay, so now we're going to do a pop quiz. I'd love to know how many feelings Crystal can name in 1 minute.
Gosh.
And so we're going to let her write these down, but we're going to look at the clock, and she has 1 minute to write down as many feelings as she can think of.
I'm ready, boss. Just tell me when the minute starts.
All right, let me set the timer, and then we're going to get ready to go. And for those of you out there watching, I want you to take a guess on how many Crystal will be able to name. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
And go.
I wish my fingers moved faster.
You've got 30 seconds left.
Now I'm forgetting how to spell.
Okay, 10 seconds left. And time. Right, let's see. So my guess is that Crystal got maybe, I want to say 12.
I got 18.
You got 18, that's amazing. So let's hear some of the feelings that you came up with in 1 minute.
Okay, I came up with happy, sad, silly, frustrated, angry, loving, emotional, discontent, joyful, scared, worried, amazing, spontaneous, anxious, content. Ooh, I said amazing twice. Take that down to 17.
Ooh,
Playful and hopeful.
look at that. So 17 different feelings, and there were a variety of different feelings, right? They weren't just the ones that make us feel good. There were some of the difficult ones as well. Great job, and thank you for being a great sport with me. So if you're at home watching, challenge yourself to see how many you can come up with as well. Or maybe challenge one of your parents or caregivers. See if they have a good feelings vocabulary. So now that I've tested you, let's take a look at a variety of different feelings using a chart. So you can find all sorts of feelings charts online using Google. And this is one of my favorites because it has emojis. And I know for a lot of us and a lot of kiddos, we love emojis, right? Sometimes we don't even use words when we text our friends. We just use an emoji to express how we're feeling. So take a few seconds to look over this one. You can kind of see that it's separated. So that top left corner is more of the good feelings, or the ones that feel good, right? So like loved, happy, content, warm, affectionate, confident. And then towards the right of the screen, you might see that those are some of the more difficult feelings, right? That you might have if something bad happens or something doesn't go your way. And these are the ones that also teach us things. So oftentimes there are different ways to express the feeling. So you might think of happy or content as similar, but sometimes one of them might feel better, like it describes what you're feeling even better. So challenge yourself to expand the way that you talk about your feelings with your friends and with your family. So Crystal, I'm gonna invite you in again. I'm curious to know how you're feeling tonight.
Oh, wow. I'm just right now amazed at a definition to all the emojis because sometimes I get on and I'm like, wait, what are they saying? So right now, I think I'm feeling, I'm going to say ecstatic.
Ecstatic, wow. That is such an intense and amazing emotion. I would say right now I'm feeling a little playful, but also happy. So also having some of those warm feeling emotions. Okay. So our feelings are connected to our body. Sometimes we think of our mind and our body as separate things, but our feelings really teach us a lot about our body, and our body teaches us a lot about our feelings. So it's like a two-way street, and we learn from each one. So for example, if I'm angry, I might feel hot in my face. I might put my fist into balls. I might stomp. I might want to yell. And if I'm really, really angry, I might even cry. And so I know that if my face is starting to get hot, I might be feeling angry. So we can use our body as a way to tell us what we're feeling inside, because sometimes our mind isn't quite there yet. Our body moves first and then our mind comes second sometimes. If you're sad, you might feel like that kind of frog in your throat before you cry. You might have some tears on your face. You might feel heaviness in your shoulders. Your knees might feel a little weak, and your heart might feel heavy. And this can happen for some of those warm feelings as well, like happiness. Like when I'm happy, I almost feel light, like my body's very bouncy and jumpy. I want to say a lot of words. I might laugh. I might use my hands a lot when I'm talking, and I might feel a lightness in my heart. So I challenge you as you go through your days to take a moment to pause and look at what your body is telling you about what you're feeling. Or if you notice, hey, I'm feeling kind of worried right now, take a moment to scan your body, and you can start at the top of your head all the way down to your feet, and just notice what is coming with that worry. Maybe sometimes we have our mind feels like it's racing, right? Like kind of like a hamster on a wheel. So all of this is really, really important for us to learn more about ourselves in the world. And if you're artsy, you can even draw a picture about it, kind of like the image on this slide right now. And that helps maybe your parents understand what's going on for you too. Something else that's really helpful when we're learning about feelings is that feelings come in different sizes and intensities. So you might feel a little happy, you might feel ecstatic like Crystal, right? So sometimes we can look at it thinking about a thermometer or a scale from 1 to 5. And so I'll say, for myself, like, do I feel ecstatic on a 1 or a 5 today? And today it might be about maybe a 4. I might feel 4 ecstatic. And so when we notice how big the feeling is, we can know what we need to do, especially for those difficult feelings. So if let's say you're angry and you're maybe at a 2, you might know that if you go outside and take a fresh breath of air, then you might get back down to a 1. But if you wait till you're all the way at a 5, it might be a lot harder to calm down, right? So we want to really use some of these skills that help us kind of in the middle of the thermometer before it gets all the way to the top. So, and you can think about different situations that maybe you've been through. So how angry would you be if you couldn't go to a birthday party you were planning to go to? So for me, I might feel maybe about halfway angry. But if I've been waiting for months, I might be even more angry. Or how excited would I be if I was going to go to Disney World? I would probably be a 5, especially after being at home for so long, right? I would be so ecstatic to get to Disney World. And how sad would I be if one of my siblings ate the last donut? And this might depend on how much I was looking forward to that donut. But let's say I already had 10, I might be a 1 out of 5, right? But if I just got home and I was waiting for this donut all day, it might be a 5. I might be really, really upset, right? So this is just a really great way to check in with yourself and know how intense your feelings are. Crystal, can you think of any examples for you where you've had maybe big or medium intensities in your feelings?
Yes, I can definitely think about that when I was sad to see, well, more probably frustrated to see that it was raining, supposed to rain all week. So I think for that one, like I would be very frustrated if sometimes, but I wasn't as frustrated because I knew I wouldn't have to go out and water my garden this week.
That's right. That's right. And I'm with you on that one. No watering this week. The Mother Nature is doing it for us this week, and that's wonderful. All right. So what do we do when our feelings are difficult, when we start to get to those 4s and those 5s? So now you know how to learn what you're feeling, right? By using different vocabulary, by noticing where it is in your body, by knowing how intense it is. But now what do you do? So now is when we have to think about how do we cope, or how do we use a skill to calm down? So of course you can always talk to a trusted friend or an adult like a parent or a mentor. And you can use I language, something we call I language, to talk about your feelings. So you might say, I feel really upset when you ate the last donut out of the fridge. So you can see how by keeping it about you, you might not create some maybe, some bad feelings between you and that person if it's something related to you and that person. And of course, we can always use any skill we have to manage our emotions too. And we're going to go through a few different kinds of skills you can use because there are so many out there and each one doesn't always work for the same emotion. So what you might do when you're angry might be really, really different from what you do when you're feeling sad. Okay, so these are the different kinds of what we call coping skills, and they're just skills that help us feel better. So you can do ones that calm you down, like breathing exercises or imagining certain places that maybe make you feel happy. Grounding, which is using your surroundings and your five senses to feel present. We can use distractions like playing video games or board games, reading, watching TV, playing with a pet, listening to music or dancing. We can do something physical like squeezing something like a stress ball, walking, running, shredding paper, or punching a pillow if that's safe. Or we can process what the feelings are. Sometimes we have to reflect and kind of look back on what we were feeling to learn about ourselves. And so this is what you would use. Maybe you journal, you talk it out with a friend or a parent, you might go to therapy, and you can just sit there and reflect on what happened and kind of walk through almost like a comic strip, starting at, well, what happened right before I got upset? And then a little bit closer to when you got upset and so forth. And then what happened after, and see if you can change it in any way to be better the next time. So kind of like I said a little bit ago, you might use something very different when you're angry than when you're sad. So if I'm angry, I might want to punch a pillow or shred some paper, maybe go on a run. But if I'm sad, I might need to play with a pet or take some deep breaths, or I might want to write it out or talk it out. So it's important to know what works best for you with that particular feeling. Crystal, what are some of your favorite coping skills when you're having difficult emotions?
I'm a person who likes to think things through. A lot of my coworkers probably can relate to that for me. So I'm about journaling and talking things out. Those are my favorite things to just write and figure out the thought process behind it all.
Wonderful. Some of my favorites would be journaling as well, even gardening. You know, that could be a great distracting coping skill or a grounding coping skill because we're using our five senses when we're in the garden.
I have to agree with that. Cooking has become a new distraction for me. I'm getting in the kitchen, and that's good how you just said it. I'm using all my senses, smell, taste, sight, feeling, and all of that. So yeah, cooking has become one of my top things too.
That's a wonderful one as well. And you get to eat a delicious meal at the end of that. So it's a great reward for calming yourself down. So this is just a quick and very easy way to practice a breathing skill. And you can use this as a 5-year-old. You can use this as a 68-year-old. It doesn't matter how old you are. Square breathing can be helpful to anybody. So what I like to do is you can either trace a square, so you can draw one out and then trace it as you're breathing, or I like to close my eyes and imagine a square in my mind. And so as I'm tracing it in my mind, on one side, I breathe in. As I go down the right side, I breathe out. And then as I go across again, I breathe in. And then as I go back up on the left side, I breathe out. And you can do this over and over again, just taking deep breaths, tracing the square either on paper and in your mind. And what I like about this one is because it's so simple, it's easy to remember. We know that when we're having really difficult and big feelings, it's hard to think in the way that we usually do. So we need things that are quick and easy to remember in those moments. And if you like to get creative, you can do a star. You know, if you want more sides, you could do a hexagon, an octagon. The shape is completely up to you. I know we mentioned a little bit about grounding exercises, and so this is one of my favorites, and it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And really what we're doing is we're using our five senses to focus our attention on the present moment. So we name 5 things we can see, 4 things we can feel, 3 things we can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And the way I like to remember this, sometimes when I'm upset, it's hard to remember my 5 senses, but I just kind of move down my face. You know, I got my eyeballs, I've got my nose, my mouth, my ears, and then my hands. And just by looking at my face, I can remember what to do. All right, so would you guys like to try this grounding exercise with me?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so I'll go. So I'm going to name 5 things I can see in this room. And I might name things behind me. That way you guys can see it too. So I see a mint square. I see an indigo square on the walls. I see 2 shelves, and I see some soda bottles. 4 things I can feel. I feel my earrings on my face. I feel my glasses. I feel my sweater on me, and it's very cozy. And I feel the socks on my feet. 3 things I can hear would be the fan, the stillness of the air, and some pieces of paper that are moving with the fan. 2 things that I smell would be the coffee I made earlier and my dogs because they really need a bath. And 1 thing I can taste is the coffee that I had earlier today. And so as you can tell, as I'm doing this exercise, I don't have time to think about what was making me upset before, if I was. And we can do this over and over again. And if you're doing this outside, it's actually easier because you have a lot more sounds around you or smells around you. So I do encourage you to get some fresh air while you're trying this one out too. So between this one and the breathing crystal, which one do you think would be more helpful to you?
I think I'm going to have to go back to about the intensity of the feeling. I think if I had a more intense feeling, I would definitely need the grounding exercise because it goes a lot deeper into it. And if I had a feeling that was less intense, I think the breathing would be appropriate for me.
That's right. That's actually a really good point. Depends on how intense it would be. So these are just some different tools that you can put in your toolbox as you're, learning about these feelings, going through your day-to-day. These are 2 that you can always use. You can use these in public or privately because you can do them without other people knowing, right? You don't have to say these things out loud. You can just do it in your mind and calm down. So that's what I have for you all today. Thank you for joining me to talk about some feelings. I hope that you've learned a different variety of feelings, learned about how feelings show up in your body and how intense feelings can be, and then how to cope with these feelings, and that maybe your coping skills might be different depending on what emotion you're having.
Great. Thank you so much, Jessi, for this amazing experience, as always, on talking about feelings, understanding them, and coping with them. I know for me, I definitely love thinking about the intensity of my feelings because there are times when my feelings can be very intense and I'm just not sure the best way to bring myself down, especially when you're like angry or very anxious. Like, what's the movie where he turns big and green, the Hulk?
Yes.
I have those moments where I'm just like, oh, destroy it all. And it's good just to know that this is an intense feeling. Deep breaths is not going to help this, that I need to remember my grounding exercises. So lots of great tools for us to put in our toolbox for us at this time. So I thank you again for that. A lot of people were right along enjoying all the information you shared today. So can you remind everyone, if they want additional support or guidance, how can they reach out to you all?
Sure. So if you're interested in getting any support from us at the Kellin Foundation, you're welcome to check out our website at kellinfoundation.org. We also have a Facebook group with tons of different groups you can join, different events you can follow us on. We have weekly story time for really young children. And you can also call us at our phone number at 336-429-5600.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jessi. And then Erin is in our chat log. If anyone has any questions related to Girl Scouts, make sure you visit our website, girlscoutsp2p.org, or give us a call at 800-672-2148. We would love to help support you, your girl, troop leaders, any of you out there. And don't forget that if you're needing an extra opportunity to interact with other girls, we do have amazing programs that are happening virtually. So visit our website, www.camplikeagirl. Girl Scout Camp is still happening, a little different, but we still have a place for you there. Where in July, there's even an opportunity to come out and meet all the people you've been seeing virtually at the end of the week, as long as outside stays open enough for us to do that. So thank you all again for joining us today for our Wellness Wednesday, and we look forward to seeing you all again next week, 4 p.m. Thank you.